Yes, you welcome to our broadcasting for the Turkish and Black Sea region studies. The TESPAM and the Turkish Zonguldak University is jointly organizing this event. Now we are in the hybrid session of the Black Sea Energy Summit. Our guests are Mr. Duadu from Romania, Mr. Topal from Turkey, and Mr. Celozzi and Mr. İlbaş will be together with us today. Our topic is, as you know, the energy is the major crisis in the economies nowadays, and also the summer winter is coming. The winter will be some kind of hard in the EU, and this is reflecting on the prices of energy to all of us. So today we will discuss how to develop a Black Sea region looking around the other regions for interconnections and grid and the market integration, so that our guests will make you a brief presentation on the topic and the grid and how we developed our region to have a security of supply on the energy side. I would like to give word to Mr. Duadu. Mr. Duadu is let me introduce Mr. Duadu. He's Energy Policy Group Director. Yes, from Romania, and he's associate professor in University of Bucharest, and co-founder and director of Energy Policy Group and as well he's the advisor to he was the advisor to the minister in Romania. So Mr. Duadu, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Mr. Becerikli. I'm very honored to be invited in this event. EPG and TESPAM have been partners for a while now, so I'm very honored to join this event, and I appreciate the dedication of organizing on a Saturday afternoon. And but the topic is very important. You mentioned that winter is coming in Europe. It's true. It's a time of energy crisis. It's especially an issue of natural gas prices, but that, as you know, has led to a crisis of electricity prices as well. So everything related to energy is exorbitantly expensive, at record levels, unprecedented. And this is, of course, a challenge for the EU economies, for the populations, for the societies, for households, and we want to make sure that we'll be able to heat our homes this winter. Having said that, it's important to distinguish between the very short-term measures that will be taken for this winter and probably next one as well. That is using every possible energy resources that are accessible. Basically buying all the available gas quantities through whatever conduits you can import them in Europe. And the prices are more than gas prices more than 10 years as expensive as 1 year ago or so. And with respect to natural gas security, the Black Sea region and Turkey, in particular, have always placed a diacritical role about diversifying the imports channels of natural gas to Europe. At this moment, indeed, Turkey seems to be the only way to import natural gas by pipeline in Central Europe. It's basically the Southern Gas Corridor, linking Azerbaijan through Georgia, Turkey, then Greece, Albania, all the way to Italy. A link that takes natural gas also to Southeast Europe, to from Greece to Bulgaria, Romania, and further on to Central Europe. But also whatever Russian gas is still being imported in Europe, in Europe by pipeline at this moment comes also through Turkey. Of course, the mid to long term story is different because the very nature of natural gas prices is the medicine against natural gas addiction. Natural gas is simply too expensive to be the backbone of an European economy at this point. So the efforts after this crisis will be slowly averted, will be to reduce dependence on natural gas in Europe, because nobody expects in Europe prices at the levels of, let's say, 2020 or early 21. So the blueprint that Europe has for that is the European Green Deal, which for energy has 4 pillars, basically. A lot more renewable energy resources, green hydrogen based on renewable energy efficiency, and to support all that, bolstering the electricity grid. So electrification for high voltage power lines for transmission and distribution. And again, I want to focus a bit on the Black Sea region, where I think that beyond natural gas, and also not just the pipelines that I mentioned, but also the natural gas discoveries in the Black Sea, in the Romanian waters, but also a bit more recently in the Turkish waters. We also have a lot of potential for offshore wind power. EPG did an assessment for energy for wind power resources in the Romanian waters. Other colleagues did the same for Bulgaria. I can tell that there is a lot of a very significant potential, completely undeveloped at this point, for for offshore wind parks in the Black Sea, but certainly no large-scale offshore wind power development can take place unless you have both sides of the sea. And Turkey is definitely the dominant player on the southern shores of the Black Sea, with massive expansion of water there, and of course with very, very significant natural resources for offshore wind power. So we should join forces and cooperate, because to build the very expensive infrastructure to interconnect the offshore wind parks with the shores, you need cooperation across the sea. We can learn from the experience of the North Sea countries, who learned to build islands with transformation stations, but also to host green hydrogen electrolyzers production capacities and storage capacities, that we should cooperate on that. So to close my intervention at this point, yes, we should keep and develop the natural gas cooperation, but allocate a lot more attention to joint wind power, offshore wind power project and offshore wind power infrastructure, and they will serve as a basis for green hydrogen production. I'm afraid I can't hear you. You seem to be muted, Mr. Becerikli.
Yeah. Sorry. Thank you very much, Mr. Duadu. We listened the current situation briefly on the energy side. Now we will go on with the Mustafa İlbaş from Gazi University. He is founding vice rector of Bozok University and founding dean of the Technology Faculty and the Energy Systems Engineering Department. Mustafa Bey sent us a video, and now I will stream the video on and make the broadcasting with Mr. Mustafa İlbaş.
Rusya'dan almaktadır. Rusya'dan 3 doğalgaz hattı oldu en son. Türk akımıyla birlikte. Bu boru hatlarından doğalgaz almaktadır. Ve toplamda %41'ini kullandığı doğalgazın ülkemiz Rusya'dan bu boru hatlarıyla almaktadır. Onun dışında İran'dan doğalgaz alıyoruz boru hattıyla ve kardeş ülke Azerbaycan'dan doğalgaz alıyoruz. Onun dışında Cezayir başta olmak üzere birçok ülkeden spot piyasadan LNG doğalgaz alımı da gerçekleştiren bir ülkeyiz. Ve aynı bağımlılığı benzer şekilde petrolde de dışa bağımlı bir ülke olduğumuz için aslında ülkemiz enerjide özellikle sıvı ve gaz yakıtlarda dışa bağımlılığı yüksek olan bir ülke. Tabii ki böyle bir ülke için ithalatçı olan bir ülke için kendi kaynaklarını bulmak, kendi topraklarında, kendi denizinde yeni bir rezerv keşfetmek elbette çok değerli, çok önemlidir. İşte 21 Ağustos 2020'de ilan edilen ve daha sonra devamı da gelen Karadeniz'deki gaz keşfinden bahsediyorum. Burada elde edilen doğalgaz, çıkarılan doğalgaz öncelikle Tuna bir sahasında, Sakarya gaz sahasında 320 milyar metreküp olarak ilan edildi. Daha sonra ilave 80 milyar metreküp ilave ile beraber bu 485 milyar metreküple beraber 405 milyar metreküpe çıktı. Bu oldukça önemli ve hızla çalışmalar başladı. 2023 yılının ilk çeyreğinde buradan gaz alımına, sisteme gaz verilmesine başlanacak. Bu önemli ve tarihi bir gelişmedir diye değerlendiriyorum. Dolayısıyla buradan alınacak, ilk etapta alınacak günlük 10 milyon metreküplük gaz çok büyük bir rakam olmayabilir ama ileride bu rakam 50 milyon metreküplere kadar çıkacak. Türkiye için değerlidir. Çünkü böylesine bir rezerv şöyle baktığımız zaman aslında toplamda tamamını kullanmış olsak 10 yıl yetecek bir doğalgaz gibi gözükmekle birlikte buradan üretim kapasitemize bağlı olarak günlük kullanım işte 10 milyon metreküpler, 50 milyon metreküpler olduğunu düşündüğümüzde bu rakam elbette Türkiye'ye en az 25 yıl bu şekilde takviye olacaktır, destek olacaktır. Ve hem kendi kaynağımız, öz kaynağımızdır. Dolayısıyla %100 dışa bağımlı olan bir ülke için bu kaynak çok değerlidir. Bu %5 olabilir, %8 olabilir. Belki ileride %10'lara çıkabilir. Yani ihtiyacımızın karşılaması bakımından. Ama bu oran değerlidir. Nereden baksanız bu bugün İran'dan aldığımız doğalgaza denk gelebilir. Dolayısıyla ileride teknik arızalar ya da başka sebeplerle doğal gaz kesintisi olduğu takdirde bu kendi Karadeniz gazımız işte bunu telafi etmeye yetecektir. Bunu tolere edecektir. İkame edecektir. Bu bakımdan çok değerlidir. Türkiye'nin elini güçlendirmektedir. Yurt dışında gaz pazarlıkları yapıldığı zaman, gaz piyasasına çıkıldığı zaman çok zorda kalmış bir ülke ötesinde kendi kaynağı olan bir ülke olacağımız için aslında bizim elimizi güçlendirmekte bir manivela etkisi yapmaktadır. Başka ne tür etkileri vardır? Elbette bizim bu alanda tecrübe kazanma katkısı ve etkisi etkisi vardır. Yani Türkiye bu konuda gaz arama, gaz üretme ve bunu taşıma, deniz altında özellikle bunları yapma, derin denizlerde yapma, 2000 metrelerde bunu yapma kabiliyetini kazanmakta, kapasitesini artırmaktadır. Hem bu çalışmalarla şu anda 4 tane olan sondaj gemimiz Fatih, Yavuz, Kanuni ve Abdülhamit Han ve 2 tane de Barbaros Hayrettin ve Oruç Reis sonunda sismik gemilerimizle beraber bu konuda ciddi kapasitesi olan, destek gemileriyle bir filoya sahip olan bir ülke haline geldik. Bunları kullanmayı öğrendik. Bunlarla gazı, doğal gazı keşfetmeyi ve çıkarmayı öğreniyoruz. Ve bu konuda tecrübe sahibi dünyadaki ilk 10 ülkeden birisi olduk. İşte bu imkanlarımızı artık bundan sonra bu Karadeniz gazı keşfiyle taçlandırdık. Bunu başardık. Bunu başardıktan sonra artık biz demek ki dünyanın her tarafında, mavi vatanda, ülkemizin her bölgesinde, işte şimdi konuştuğumuz Libya'da ortak projelerle petrol ve doğalgaz arayabiliriz ve doğalgaz çıkarabiliriz. Doğalgaz üretebiliriz, doğalgaz taşıyabiliriz. Bu konuda uluslararası projeler geliştirebiliriz. Uluslararası projelere ortak olabiliriz. Bu da bizi hem enerji arz güvenliğimizi sağlamak bakımından hem doğalgaz arzını garanti altına almak bakımından değerli olacak. Ama diğer taraftan bölgesel bir oyuncu haline de getirebilecektir. İşte son günlerde Libya ile başlayan ortak çalışma anlaşmaları bu kapsamda değerlendirilmelidir. İşte Türkiye bu kapasitesini, bu yeni tecrübesini o bölgelere taşıyacaktır ve yeni projeler geliştirebilecektir. Hep şunu söylerim ben, yine de bunu tekrar etmek lazım. Türkiye'nin de yaklaşımı, ona yakışan yaklaşım da bu olmuştur. Hep tarih boyunca barışı, dünya barışını hedefleyen bir dış politikası olan bir ülkeyiz. Dolayısıyla enerji uzmanı olarak tekrar etmek istiyorum ki dünya enerji savaşlarından çok çekti. Dünya enerji teröründen çok çekti. Dünya enerjiden dolayı işgallerden çok çekti. Artık enerji kıymetli bir emtia, meta olarak, enerji değerli, kritik bir madde olarak barışların konusu olmalıdır. Yani biz diyoruz ki artık enerji barışlarından söz etmenin zamanı geldi. Enerji barışlarından bahsetmenin zamanı geldi. Biz enerji politikamızı, enerji barışları üzerine kuruyoruz. Dünyada enerji barışlarının konuşulduğu bir dönemi arzuluyoruz. Bunun için mücadele ediyoruz. Bunu nasıl yapabiliriz? Ortak proje geliştirerek, kimseyi dışlamayarak ve kazan kazan yöntemleri kullanarak, mühendisliği devreye sokarak ve çevreyi de koruyarak işbirliklerini geliştirerek yapabiliriz. İşte Türkiye enerji politikasını bu yönde yapıyor. Karadeniz gazının bu tür etkileri olacaktır. Ben bundan sonraki çalışmalara önemli etkileri yapacak bu keşfin çok değerli olduğunu düşünüyorum. Çalışmaların iyi gittiği haberlerini alıyoruz. Filyos'ta tesisleri çok ilerlediğini görüyoruz ve zamanında iddia edildi ve ilan edildiği gibi Mart ayında ilk gazın karaya, Filyos'a akıtılacağını, verileceğini ve sisteme verileceğini bekliyorum. Bu konudaki çalışmaların başarılı olmasını, toplantımızın, bu organizasyonun TESPAM olarak yaptığımız çalışmaların başarılı olmasını, TEBAM olarak yapmış olduğumuz çalışmaların başarılı olmasını diliyorum. Herkesi sevgiyle, saygıyla selamlıyorum.
Yes, I should thank Mr. İlbaş. He's for translation. He briefly told us the security of supply of Turkey and the useful new areas for the natural gas discoveries. And he reiterated the peaceful usage of energy will also bring the peace the region. So he gave good hopes and wishes to the cooperation of for the common projects to be produced, to be commissioned for infrastructure and the other projects and the Turkish new discoveries. So I would like to welcome Mr. Celozzi. Mr. Celozzi will be our next speaker. Mr. Celozzi's background is very long. It's good to see you, Mr. Celozzi, today. I should, let me give a few minutes to introduce you with
yes, nice.
Yes, should I share my screen?
Can I do my presentation? My self-presentation?
First, I would like to introduce you, Mr. Celozzi.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Celozzi is now the president of Transmed Engineering Company for Networks. He's still the member of Scientific Committee of CMI for Center of Mediterranean Integration and a lecturer and founding member and Secretary General of Mediterranean Enerji Academy and chairman and CEO of FCI Engineering, but he is very famous with the other studies, such as co-founder of being the MET TSO and being executive manager at Terna for long years, and all European activities he is always in the head roles, so that's why how we know him. And head of Mediterranean activities of Terna, he lead many projects in Albania, Tunisia, and other initiatives. So he's the very energetic person of the European Union and Italy. So today we invited him to share us his experiences on the MET TSO, Mediterranean studies, which can lead us, which can enlighten us on how we can develop studies similar in the Black Sea region. So, Mr. Celozzi, welcome once more. I am providing your slide on the screen. So, the floor is yours. Yes, please.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to be here with you today because it's a long time we don't meet for speaking about, for discussing about our common problem. As you know, in this moment, we are in a very complicated transition phases. And all of us, we hope the war in Ukraine will be finished as soon as possible, because the disruption has become a global problem in economic terms and in the energy terms. The two things are linked. Okay, next slide, please. I am very happy to be with you because I think what I sent you, the message I sent you, our job is beautiful. Is beautiful because it's vital, and has its impact on societies, economies, and in the end on the live of all citizens. We love our job. All of us, we have our job. Then, next slide, please. I would the context. I think that our job today, our role is of peace builder in this moment, because we have to prepare next situation of peace. Is not our job to manage the military context in this moment, of course, but our job is to prepare the energy infrastructure for next common future. Energy is vital for all of our activities, as you know. The energy systems are the result of the history, geography, orography, hydrography, geology of a country. Then the Mediterranean is the site of differences. We have to respect and to consider always the differences between the different countries in order to build the possible integration with the most available tools. So the energy market disruption is a dramatic context, but by building the condition for peace is a responsibility of all the energy operator, but also a special occasion to balance the imbalance of the European gas import through the Mediterranean. Until now, the direction has been from north to south, but we have to balance this situation, activating the energy flow from south to north European market. Then the Mediterranean, the Black Sea and the Mediterranean are strategic bridge towards the European energy market. This is an historical moment for for our regions, because the role I cannot see all the slide. Please see if you can. I cannot remember all the slides, but anyway, the problem. I think the context is clear for. Oh, thank you very much. Because Turkey is an important energy hub linking the gateway between the Black Sea and European energy market. That's because we are speaking together today, and I think in our next activities in the Mediterranean. Next slide, please. Speaking about grids, next slide, please. We are the reliability and the transport capacity of a grid depend on the grid meshing. I can say more, even the economy depend on the grid meshing of its infrastructures. Next slide, please. This is the Euro-Mediterranean gas system. You can note the meshing of the grid in the Central Europe, in Italy, and also in Turkey, and the meshing of the grid in North Africa and Middle East. There is a big difference, as you can say. Next slide, please. The same we can see for the Mediterranean energy grids, electricity grids. The same situation you can see for the meshing of the grid in the Central Europe and until the Turkey, and the situation in North Africa and Middle East. Then you can note the meshing of the grid is directly connected to the gross national product per capita for each country. This is you can verify, but this is a very, very interesting to note for designing the future. Next slide, please. Europe is the largest gas importer in the world, 350 billion cubic meter per year, and it is the reference energy market for all the Mediterranean countries. Of course, even for Russia in this moment, it is impossible to allocate the former export toward Europe in other countries. Is too much big. That's why the disruption of the European energy market has a strong impact at global level. You can see the top 5 gas importers in the world, like Germany, Japan, China, United States, and Italy. This is the energy market context. Next slide, please. For the first time, Russian zero gas is unfortunately a realistic scenario. The serious impact on the European energy market and consequently on global level. A leading role will be played by the Black Sea system and by the Turkish energy hub in the future of the energy transport corridors linking Europe and the Middle and also Far East. Next slide, please. This is only a reference of the dynamic of the prices in Europe and USA. You can see that in 2021, a lot of months before the starting of the war, the price has been of about the electricity, the gas price has been of about 63 euros per megawatt hour. Today, in the last day from 19 and 24 of September 2022, the price has been 180 euro per megawatt hour. Next slide, please. The impact of the invasion of Ukraine has become a global issue. and the global energy market is disrupted. And also the global food market is disrupting, and the Turkish operator know very well this situation. Then the European security of supply, we can find the solution in the short, mid, and long term. Overcoming the peak of winter consumption is the first priority for all the European country in this week. Rebuilding the strategic gas storage before next winter, that is not we are arrived at the beginning of next winter, and this situation is quite good in this moment for cover the essential gas consumption in Europe and in Italy in particular. But we have to identify options for the mid and long term for our future. Next slide, please. The options available for Europe are the following: increase in domestic gas production that begins essential import by Norway. The second option is increase in gas imports from Africa. That means Algeria, Libya, and Nigeria, but only in the long term. The case of Nigeria is not easy to solve, not only for the distances. And also the imports of renewable energy sources of electricity produced by renewable energy sources. These are solutions for the mid-term, because, you know, the construction of new energy infrastructure takes decades. 10 years is the mean time for the construction of a power line for a gas pipeline. Then the third priority is LNG. LNG is very flexible, and in this moment we cannot imagine a reduction because of LNG prices, because in this moment the availability for LNG for the European market is based on the difference of price with the Asian market. Then this option is not structural, is not for all the next years. We can design now the alternatives for balances the market in Europe and Asia. The fifth is the fourth option is increasing of import from Azerbaijan and opening new trade working corridors via Turkey. This is essential in next decades. We have to connect other country, other gas producer, which are in the area of Black Sea. All this perspective depends on the Turkish energy hub. The fifth option is the reduction of non-electric gas uses, but this also depends on the habit of the population, and then it takes a lot of years to modify the so-called model of consumption. A new model of consumption means a new way of life. Then it's very difficult to modify. Another important option is the substitution of electric gas by renewable energy sources. This is a priority according to the European Green Deal in the mid-long term. An example very important is the wind offshore project that is good, but also for North Europe, northern countries, because they are located in the Northern Sea. The wind offshore program has a size of about 200 gigawatt, is enormous, but we cannot think an similar project for the Mediterranean because we do not have the condition existing in the Northern Sea. And then the solution, we have to find other solution able to intensify RES, renewable electricity produced by RES, and also exporting electricity towards Europe. That's possible tomorrow, not in this moment. At the end, the role of coal and nuclear is necessary according to development of the speed of development of renewable energy sources. But the role of these two supply chain are limited in the time by 2014, because the future of nuclear supply chain is not the fission but the fusion, and all the European countries are strongly involved in this important project. Today, the first prototype is in phase of construction in France with the contribution of an international consortium. Next slide, please. Then the next normal, this definition we used during the last months. After the pandemic crisis and the war in Europe, we must define pathways of economic and productive recovery. The recovery plan for all the economy had hit by the damage of the pandemic and of the war. Then the market integration supporting the long-term development of the Mediterranean countries is essential. A vision we have to share, because there is not only a simple soft solution for this very big problem, but also very big opportunity. The role of the energy operators is to define and to prepare the next more normal for the Euro-Mediterranean energy market. This is a precondition for the sustainable development of the Mediterranean countries. And even the concept of sustainability has to be clarified. We are looking for sustainability in terms of environmental point of view, but also social acceptance, political viability, innovation, that means digitalization in this moment, job creation, health protection, economic and productive development, stability, and security. All these point of view are contributing to define the sustainability of the choices. Next slide, please. Please, next slide. What can we do? The steps for energy system development and integration is a very complex issue, starting from a forum of discussion. We need to identify a forum of discussion as discussion site, because this must be at technical level to overcome political barriers, a site where we can speak each other without too much strong constraints. Somebody called this cover site of discussion, because they are covered from the pressure and the constraints of the policies of the different countries. A site where we can discuss, and then to develop operational proposal to the political level. The political level is a decision level, is not a level for discuss and to share new next normal, where to share a vision of the new rules of the game. Create the new rules of the game must be compliant with the national market and with the different national rules. It is possible to exchange electricity and gas even in presence of difference in local national rules. This is the main objective, to start the exchanges as soon as possible. This means to prepare an integrated planning of gas, because gas RES and electricity infrastructure. Overcoming the existing approach failed. I can see it's not a private session. I could be more clear, but not all the project in the last year has succeeded. Even in the sector of regulation, we have to define new rules without pretend to change the internal rules of
Sorry, Mr. Celozzi, your microphone has a problem for the last few words.
Oh, okay.
It's
That's
okay,
okay?
now we are hearing. Yes, it's okay.
I
now.
have 2 minutes to finish. Okay. Then, if we share a reference business model like the European Green Deal, modified on the basis of the specific characteristics of the Mediterranean countries, not in terms of solution. But in terms of priorities, the priorities in Europe are not the same that in Mediterranean. Then we could promote pilot country projects. The country projects are absolutely needed, reflecting the feature of each country and establishing a policy framework which is not a technical problem, is a policy problem, but where we have to present viable proposal in terms of technical specification, economic and financing specification. Next slide, please. Oh, all right. No, President, this is I hope even if he was not ready for the presentation for a little misunderstanding on the date, but I hope it will be possible to discuss among us for sharing the approach, the methodology, and the pathway for searching operational, economical, and financial solution for new energy infrastructure. Gas and electricity and gas is a mix which cannot ignore for next 2 decades. I hope to have presented my point of view in order to understand your reaction, finding new pathway together for next future, common future. Thank you very much and see you soon.
We thank you very much, Mr. Celozzi. So you informed us very well on the situation and the solution as well. This solution is demonstrating us that all the networks should be connected. Otherwise, it is already connected with the pricing. If we don't connect the grids, both on gas and electricity, we should pay more on the energy costs. Any country cannot stay away from this problem other than we didn't connect the markets and the grids. We will have an open discussion in the last 10 minutes and I will ask you for the last remarks, but before Mr. Topal will make his presentation on the energy crisis and the markets as well. So I should give the floor to Mr. Topal. Yes, Mr. Topal, the floor is yours.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming today. I am Göksel and I am working at Water Energy Company in the Department of the Trade and Market Operation. I have been working TESPAM for 1 year and we will talk today effects of the energy crisis on the electricity markets. Next, please. Contents. My talk is divided into 5 parts. First, I will give you some basic information about energy crisis. Next, I will talk about Europe and Turkey natural gas supply. Then global effects of the energy crisis. Finally, solutions and actions plans of energy crisis. Next, please. Energy crisis in September 2021, the global energy crisis began due to the consequence of natural gas and coal crisis, USA, China, and Russia. Before the effects of the energy crisis had passed with the start of Russia between Ukraine war in February 2022, Effects of the energy crisis increased and affected woolworths. And this table has shown energy crisis. This table has shown cause of energy crisis. For example, overconsumption and overpopulation, energy waste, and lack of storage. For example, natural gas supply, coal supply, and Brent petrol supply, Brent oil supply, and power plant commission delays, unused renewable options, for example, hydrogen energy and hybrid renewable energy sources, and wars and attacks, for example, Russia and between Ukraine's wars, and politics border obstructions, and major accidents and natural calamities, for example, COVID pandemics, and finally, poor distribution systems. Next, please. Now I would like to focus our attention on this figure. This figure is the share of the Russian natural gas in European countries. A significant part of the European countries such as Bulgaria, North Macedonia, Estonia, and Finland are 100% depend on Russian natural gas. The natural gas demand of these countries is provided only from Russia. According to possible consequence of Russia and between Ukraine war, we can say that Russia will not be much affected by the interruption of gas flow by Russia, but some European countries will be seriously affected due to the fact that Russia is the only supplier. And if Germany and Italy impose a sanction against Russia, we can say that they will be greatly affected. Lithuania has supplied most of this natural gas supplied from Russia until 2015, but this percent has fallen 69%. Although Poland is slowly trying to reduce dependence of Russian gas, but the percent remains above 18%. France supplied 10% of its natural gas demands from Russia. Although Italy plans to reduce import rate of natural gas, but in recently this rate has reached 33%. Next, please. And now I will show you natural gas import rate of Turkey. Natural gas demands of the Turkey are supplied from 13.4% Russia and 21% from Azerbaijan and 17% Iranian and approximately 12% Algeria and 20% in the other countries. When we examine the BOTAŞ dates, Turkey's capacity to take daily from 47 billion cubic meter per day Blue Stream and 46 billion cubic meter per day Turkish Stream and 28 billion cubic meter per day Iranian. Also, BOTAŞ storage has capacity 37 million cubic meter and Silivri storage has capacity 28 million cubic meter and Egegas storage has capacity 14 million cubic meter and FRRSU storage has capacity 28 million meter cubic. And finally, from the use of natural gas imported by Turkey, electricity production is first. When we examine 2021 data, the back please. 27 of natural gas used combined cycle power plants and 24 of natural gas used industrial sector and 37 of natural gas used residential buildings. Next, please. Now, when we came to global effects of the energy crisis, when we focus on three graphics, we can say that coal, Brent oil, and natural gas prices have increased at a particularly high rate compared to March of last year. And 2022, you can see that coal prices reached $407, and TTF gas price have reached 237 euros, and Brent oil prices have reached $113. This graphics compare it to natural gas and Newcastle coal price and Brent oil price compared to previous years. Next, please. In these sections, I will talk about global effects of the energy crisis. As you know, 17% of the electricity production in Europe and 63% of electricity production in Turkey are provided from only fossil fuels. And due to the droughts, renewable energy plants under the expanded level in electricity production in Europe and Turkey. As a result, electricity prices to record reverse since September of last year. In addition to the policy of closing coal and nuclear power plants in Europe has caused the increase in electricity prices, as it has also reduced diversity of source. Let's now to Turkey. With the increase of exchange rates and fuel prices, the unit energy production cost of fossil fuel power plants has increased. As a result, it caused electricity prices to rise. Next, please. Due to rising electricity prices, due to rising energy prices in China, there have been electricity cutoffs to factories and homes. As a result of the power cutoffs, small and large-sized factories in global manufacturing sector have stopped their production. Factories in the Netherlands temporarily stopped their production due to rising energy costs. And aluminum manufacturing companies in Germany announced that they will reduce their production 15%. Similarly, various production factories in France have announced that they will stop their production due to rising energy prices. And finally, large-scale production factories in Switzerland and Romania have also stopped their production. In Turkey, there were 3-day natural gas and electricity restrictions in generally, especially in the organized industrial zones in our major cities. And manufacturers slowly reduced their production and slowly reduced their electricity consumption. Next, please. When we came to the basic solution of energy crisis, the energy efficiency measures and adaptation of renewable sources, for example, hybrid systems, solar and wind power plants, and solar and hydro hybrid power plants. And energy audit, because energy audit is necessary for the manufacturing companies decrease the electricity and natural gas consumption. For example, ISO 15001 certificates and conservation of energy, for example, electricity battery systems and electricity fuel cell systems, and off-grid generation to avoid trans losses, for example, smart grid systems. And improve the energy infrastructures, for example, energy efficiency buildings and energy efficiency manufacturing companies and energy efficiency cars and energy efficiency equipments. Green incentive and tax credit, for example, IREC certificates and for Turkey, YEKG certificates. And energy policy and implementation, for example, renewable increases the incentives for renewable energy sources such as wind and solar sources, maybe. Next, please. When we came to action plans of the International Energy Agency, no new gas supply contrasts with Russia and replace Russian supplies with gas from alternative sources, and by filling the minimum gas storage and obligations, accelerate the deployment of the new wind and solar projects by maximizing energy production from bioenergy and nuclear energy, and speed up the replacement of gas boilers with heat pumps because this is necessary for energy efficiency. Accelerate energy efficiency improvements in the buildings and industries. Encourage a temporary thermostat adjust by consumers, and step up efforts to diversity and decarbonize source of power system flexibility. For example, maybe hybrid system, how can I say, maybe nuclear systems, and maybe large off-grid wind power plants. Next, please. When we actions plans the countries and European countries, for Spain, the heating temperature value was limited to 19 degrees, and watt of the natural gas will reduce from 21% to 5%. And for Belgium, watt of the electricity and natural gas is 60%. And public buildings will not be lighting between 19 hours and 16 hours. For Italy, fuel taxes have been reduced, and a substance allowance of the 100 euros will be provided. For Germany, unlimited ticket application in public transportation, and public buildings will be heating 19 degrees. The European Union has prepared an emergency plan in case of possible cut off the flow of natural gas from Russia. It has been decided that EU of member states will reduce their gas consumption by 15%. And in addition to it is aimed that EU countries will fill their reserves by 80% by the winter months. For countries of EU, it was demanded to save energy, and the operation periods of some coal, some gas, and some nuclear power plants have been extended. It was announced that the rock gas study will be supported. Next, please. We focus on Turkey. Turkey's pre-winter natural gas reserves have reached 100% capacity, and progressive tariffs for merchants and residential consumers are described in the electricity tariffs. Incentives for renewable energy plants such as solar and wind plants have been increased in order to increase the diversity of source, and the energy efficiency incentives increased. Now, these two-figure energy efficiency plans for industry and technology sector and the energy sectors, you can see that. Next, please. Thank you for attention. Please.
Can I comment this presentation?
Yes, please.
It's very, very interesting because you represent all the parameters of the possible evolutions. That means that all these indicators will change. You can imagine the effect of renewable energy sources, penetration. According to the Green Deal, we are speaking in Europe, but also in the rest of the Mediterranean, a perspective of doubling the electricity consumption. This is incredible change. We speak about infrastructure, you can imagine. What
Yes.
means double the transmission system is a challenge incredible. And on the other hand, innovation, digitalization. We are coming from pandemics. We learn to use a different way to use the transport system. The transport system is the demand, the most important
Yes.
final sector which we have to change.
Of course.
Then the problem for us is how to start up. My proposal is motivated by also by the Green Deal. In the point of view of the Mediterranean countries, is the blue economy. It will impact the transport cost and environmental impact. It will impact the digitalization of economy integration. You can imagine to planify even agriculture, which is another big sector, very important for the environment. Then you can imagine a digitalized grid of ports
Yes.
and all the infrastructure around the ports, the linking with the local activities in each country, and the main sector of shipment is there are a lot of similarity between Italy and Turkey.
Turkey.
You have an important shipment sector, you know very well, because we have, but we have not valorized it until now. We are transit countries because Italy and Turkey are energy consumer, but
Yes.
not producer. We have to import, but we have also to export by supporting the market and system integration. We have facilitated the exchange. Is vital for you and us. This is an old rule of the Roman Empire. We have to exchange, we have to move, we have to understand, we have to govern the differences, because the Mediterranean is the site of differences. We cannot ignore. There is not a solution good for all of us. We had pasta and you other only cheese are similar between Turkey and Italy. What I want to say that these are the two energy hubs that, if integrated, we can promote the exchange between Mediterranean and Central Europe, changing the point of view of economy and of for financing new infrastructure. The details about the blue economy has been not developed until now in the Mediterranean. Which, that we have to develop. For me, I will study because I am on my iPhone. I didn't see exactly, but the trend I understood. The approach is right. The problem is how to share a vision for the future and start up new project with a shared criteria.
Thank you very much, Mr. Celozzi. In the last session, our time limit is concluded now, but I just want to give the last words for closing remarks to Mr. Radu Duadu as well. Yes, Mr. Duadu, what's your closing remarks?
Well, I listened with great interest to both Mr. Celozzi's and Mr. Topal's presentations, and I agree with the blueprint presented by Mr. Celozzi. I think the mid to long-term plan is there already. It's the European Green Deal, which will have to be worked out in details to see exactly what's applicable in an efficient and politically viable and socially acceptable form in the member states of Europe. And then we have to see for the Black Sea region how to develop the further the partnership with Turkey, which is currently indeed a major natural gas hub. The Turkish infrastructure is crucial right now for the continued natural gas trade of the Caspian region and still Russian exports to Europe. But again, I think we should move ahead and extend this cooperation to the energies of the future. And what comes closest to mind is offshore wind and renewable hydrogen. But of course, we have to build cross-border infrastructure projects to enforce the grid, to make sure that the Turkish grid gets enmeshed with the European one. The fact that it hasn't been so already, I think, has been a loss on both sides. And also to try and develop together other new technologies of the future. Geothermal was mentioned, if I'm not wrong. We'll have to see what the future will bring, but there are concrete steps to be taken to enhance this cooperation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Duadu. Let me present you the newly published TESPAM Black Sea 2022 report. It's just published. It's not published today. It will be published tomorrow. In these studies, we have projections and the country's own situation on energy. So I have summarized it a little bit, please. The energy crisis in the EU and the Turkish capacities is reported in this report. Then the other Black Sea region countries' own potential and own situation is also being reported. Then I should demonstrate you the next 2050 potential that our projections demonstrated us that there is a high potential on the natural gas. Yes, if you can see this, if it is not too small. In this page, you see that there are other resources of natural gas around Turkey, and it can be bring it can be easy to bring, but not easy to solve the geopolitical problems, but very easy to have access to the resources. This can bring 200 BCM natural gas to the EU via Turkey. As Mr. Celozzi mentioned, the Turkish corridor can easily be updated and to be used to reduce the appetite of European Union on the natural gas. This is different countries, different amounts, but at the end of the day, all these natural gas can be transferred to EU. Otherwise, it can be transferred to the China side, the east side. So these are the export potential of the countries, and I recommend you to get this report. It is prepared by a group of TESPAM team. It has many aspects. We didn't discuss the nuclear issue today because it's not a market issue, and nuclear session can be also included to our panel. But the market integration, especially the grid integration, is very important. As Mr. Celozzi's background experiences, the cross-border grids, as Mr. Duda as well mentioned on it, the interconnections of the EU makes it possible for the trade easily without dedicating the pipelines on and also the electricity grids to just one company. The model of the EU of interconnection can easily be applied around the Black Sea region, and also to have easy access to the east of the Turkey to the both electricity and the natural gas resources, such as Turkmenistan and the Iran electricity sources are available at the moment. So the peaceful use of energy can also solve the problems in the region. So energy is always the financier sponsor of the wars, but we can also use this in the use of peace, and energy can bring us the peace. So we should do together the cooperations and common projects without reaching to the limits. We should always examine how it is possible to increase the connections, grids, and the possible investments as a common investment. So as also Mr. Celozzi mentioned, the transportation, the e-mobility, I should pay some attention. The e-mobility issues are coming on us. It's a big it will be a big problem for EU as well, because the power required for the e-mobility will probably multiply the electricity consumption maybe 5 times, or maybe more than 5 times. So these power grids will be more to be invested in the next future. So I thank all the participants to share their deep knowledge with us, and to share their hopes to increase the cooperation in the region. And I also want to thank you that you listened us, and I hope we should give some motivation and to do some more cooperation in the region. Thank you very much, Mr. Celozzi. Thank you very much, Mr. Duadu. Thank you very much, Mr. Topal.
Thank you. Thank you to you. See you soon, I hope. Bye.
Bye.